welcome back for another Tool Time Tuesday. I'm Melissa Muir. In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the sheath and the flexible shaft on your Flexshaft machine. In my case, mine took a nasty little spill, and hey, what better way to show this than here on the video. So here you can see my Flexshaft. I've done quite the number on it. The sheath on here, let's see if you guys can see this a little better, but the sheath on here is actually kind of melted away. What happened was my Flexshaft was on a stand and the stand fell over and it severely bent both my Flexshaft and the sheath itself. And we figured, we'll just kind of bend it back into place and see what happens. And this is what happened. So I need to replace both the shaft and the sheath itself in order for them to be working back properly. And you'll see there's quite a bit of grease on here, so you may want to have a paper towel or even be wearing gloves for this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure everything is unplugged. I've removed my handpiece, so my handpiece is here. I've removed that, and what I want to do is I want to remove this sheath. Now, there's a little screw right here on the motor connector, so I'm just going to undo that. And then I should be able to pull the sheath off, just like so. And so I'm just going to take that off. And in my case, my little coil wants to come as well, and that is because there is some damage here. Let's see what happens with this. Now, as you can see here, this is all laid out, and like I said, mine was damaged pretty badly. As a matter of fact, it was damaged so badly, I actually had to cut it in order to get it out so that I could get it out of the motor connector itself. So that goes on to here. So we're actually going to replace this entire assembly. Now, the spring right here actually goes on to the Flexshaft itself. So we have the motor, we have the Flexshaft, and then we have the sheath and our motor connector. So I'm going to remove these pieces that are the bad ones. And what we're going to do, so I can get this out of my way here. So here I have the new Flexshaft. Now there is already a spring on this all the way up and down, and that actually allows the oil that we are going to be putting onto this to move up and down and around. And like I said, this gets kind of messy, so you may want to have a paper towel handy so that you can either place this, or you might even do a paper. That would have been smart. Do a paper on your whole bench top, because there will be quite a bit of grease that's on here. So first thing I need to do is I need to feed the end that is going to connect to my motor up in through my Flexshaft or the motor connector. So there is quite a bit of grease in this. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but there is quite a bit of grease into here. And what I'm going to do now is we are going to start to get everything assembled, prepped back, and put together. So now I have my Flexshaft motor. You'll notice that there is a little flat spot here on this kind of I guess a chuck or a key, and there is going to be a little set screw on this. Before I put this onto here, I want to feed this through my motor connector. So I'm going to bring this up here, feed this through all the way down and around, and I'm not going to worry too much about this part yet because we need to get this attached. So you'll want to use a small screwdriver, open up that set screw just a little bit. I'm going to rotate this around so that my set screw and that little flat spot right here are in the same position. I'm going to slide this into place all the way in. I'm going to use this little set screw, tighten that up, make sure that it's well connected, give a nice little tug, and there we have that. So then the next thing I'm going to do now is attach my motor connector. Now this is just going to screw into place. Now this actually has a reverse. I don't know if you guys saw that, like when I was trying to twist to the right, which is normal for me, it doesn't go on. So it's threaded reverse of that. So I'm going to switch it and go counterclockwise. Tighten that up, use my wrench here, give a little bit extra tight, and now we're good there. Now you'll notice that there is also another set screw right here, and that is going to be where our sheath comes in. Now the sheath has two ends. The sheath the flat end of our sheath is what's going to insert into our motor connector, and then the end that has this little kind of a little knobby cutout or shape, that's what actually hooks into your handpiece. So we want that down at the other end. Now you don't always have to replace both the shaft and the sheath, but if you are going to be replacing both of them, or even if you're just replacing the shaft, before you put the sheath back on, you want to add some lubricant to this. So this is just a Fordham lubricant, and we don't need a ton. We want to kind of apply a thin bead of this all the way down though. And it doesn't have to be like constant, so it can have a couple little spaces in there, but you definitely want to get it onto the shaft all the way down. Okay, once we have that, then we're going to thread this on. Now the shaft doesn't like it if the sheath is curved, it doesn't go in quite as smoothly. So, try to keep it as straight as possible while you are threading this in. Let's see if I can move this down here so you guys can see what I'm doing. And it is a little bit of a messy operation, like I said, so you'll want to kind of be careful with what you're doing. Put as much of that grease back on there as I can. So now we're back to this point where we can pull our sheath back in here. Now, I don't want to just insert this all the way up and in. What I do want to do is pay attention to this end down here. So let me move things around a little bit. Now we only need 3/4 of an inch of this connector down here to extend beyond the sheath. So what I'm going to do is just use my ruler here and make any adjustments that I need to get to that 3/4 of an inch. Once we have that, then we're going to tighten up that motor connector. So now that we have the 3/4 inch set, what I want to do, and you'll notice now that this no longer comes all the way up against that motor connector. So now I'm going to take my little screw, screw that in, give a nice little tight, and now it's ready to go. So that's how you replace that flex shaft and the sheath itself. Now, like I said, not everybody needs to always replace both of them, and it is also a very good idea if you take the time occasionally, probably every couple of months or every few working hours of your flex shaft, to go in and remove that sheath and apply some more of that lubricant. It is important that you have a well lubricated flex shaft in order for it to function properly. Now, where can you find these parts? You can find them at usually any place that has, they sell Fordhams or the flex shaft parts or anything like that. I purchased mine at Micro Tools, so I'll put their link and the link to these particular parts down in my description of the video. So be sure to check out Micro Tools. They've been a great sponsor of Tool Time Tuesday. Again, if you have any other questions on this or any of the other items that you need to do with repairing or fixing a flex shaft, be sure to drop me a line and we'll see what we can do. Have a good day, guys.